Anybody opposing vaccination to eliminate FMD and PPR is simply mad and unreasonable and possibly stupid.
To be honest, in this country of Kenya, to be a president, it's not easy. To reach that point where you are now elected as the president occupying the highest public office in the country, it's not an easy task. You must have undergone a certain level of consistency, level of discipline in your game to be able to achieve all that. And therefore, I want to admit honestly, I'm not in a position to advise President William Ruto in any way on what he should do, how he should do it. But however, I can make a reaction to some of the things that he does. And today on this video, I want to talk about him using abusive language to Kenyans. Now, some of us could be asking ourselves, why didn't we talk about it when Kibaki was in power? He used to abuse people. To be honest, let's have just maybe a simple clip here that is trying to show Kibaki do his thing.
Na lazima wewe mwenyewe useme kwa mtoto huyo na useme kwa jia kali, panakuwa bure tu mavi ya kuku. Ati bure kabisa. Hata huwezi ukasema kwa mtoto huyu. Kwani unaogopa nini? Unamuogopa?
Now, you've all heard Kibaki. Does he seem to be serious? People are laughing all over. I mean, whenever he speaks Mavia Kuku, people are just happy, you know? Which means it really says it was not taken as an abuse. Ilikuwa kama lugha ya mzee, you know? That is what was happening during Kibaki's time. But now, and actually it didn't happen once or twice. It's not only Kibaki, even Lucy Kibaki herself. She used to come out and speak strongly, and people actually are saying she was running the country, which was the best. If she was the one running the country, then she was a great woman. To some extent, we had them solve their marital issues publicly. Kibaki had to stand up and announce that this is my only wife, because it was a demand from the wife that you have to speak about this to Kenyans, because there was one boy from Othai, I think, or maybe Kiambu, who was being, I mean, her name was moving across the country that she's the second wife to Kibaki. So Lucy Kibaki had to command the husband to come up publicly and talk about it and tell the people of Kenya that she is the only wife. And indeed, Kibaki did that. And Lucy never used to tolerate nonsense. She used to come out and engage with Kenyans on various matters and tell Kibaki this and that is no, this is a yes. And we used to see her face. I'm going to talk about the first ladies later on in the videos. But let me just talk about the abuses. I've come up to talk about Lucy Kibaki. So the abuses used to come both from Lucy and Kibaki, the man himself. So at that point, they didn't seem to be abusers. Actually, most of us used to enjoy how the country was moving. One of the things also was guiding the country is the mood. The country was not such hungry under Kibaki. And as the abuses were made, you could hear people laughing literally. Laughing. Used to talk about Pombe, used to talk about laziness, used to talk about the early politics in the country in a way that it could sound like an abuse, but it is not. Indeed, it was a joke. But now let's come to our PhD president here in the country. You know, President Ruto has done one simple thing: to be so serious in everything to an extent that now it is very serious when he abuses. Look at this. How did this seriousness come up? It started from where? You go online, say no to a certain thing in government, you're abducted, or others are killed. Then the president comes on board on a seriously awaited press address. The president calls Kenyans criminals. As if that is not enough, a man comes on board and draws cartoons about William Ruto. Not William Ruto as such, Kasongo, someone with the head, and then publishes them. The president gets annoyed about that. This gentleman gets abducted for so many days and then later dumped at Luanda in Kitale, I think. Now, in such a scenario, you ask yourself as an individual, why do you take cartoons to be so serious to an extent that you have to abduct Kenyans? So that seriousness that William Ruto was showing when he was punishing those who are drawing cartoons, it is what has transformed now to become the seriousness when he's talking to Kenyans in such kind of a language. Now, why is the president doing that? I think he's just ignorant about what you guys think or do what. Let me remind you of this incident here. There was this thing to do at the airport. The president literally had a chance to speak about Adani. And he told Kenyans that you've never even been to an airport, and here you are now telling us Adani must go. Some of you hajaifika airport JKI, hajaipanda hata ndege. That's what the president was saying. Why do you diminish Kenyans to such a level instead of telling us actually it's a dream that everyone else gets to enjoy the airport or even get to the airport to get to experience the challenges there and see the need of Adani in the country. But instead we take Alliance Kenyans, you've never been to an airport, so therefore you should not pose Adani. That is a serious abuse to Kenyans, a diminishing language to Kenyans. It's now advanced by calling those people who are rejecting injection of vaccination of cows in the country to be stupid. And then ask myself, why must the president do that? Let me talk about that kind of a scenario that led to the president abusing people to be stupid. Honestly, Kenyans are not stupid. And he himself is the one who started by saying that Wakenya wameisha hii Kenya. That is the time when he was campaigning with sweet language in the country. So at that time, Kenyans were not stupid. Now they are stupid because he's in power. That's not my point. Let me take you back slightly here about the vaccination of the cows. You have a cow back at home. You're not a large scale farmer. You just maybe have your cow, do it for milk, and at some point you can go, of course, and trade it for meat, but locally. You don't export. Then the president comes and says there's money not to pay teachers, not to bring medical facilities, not to improve anything, but just vaccinate cows for us to be able to export. And the export business is done by bigwigs, Kinaruto and himself, and other people of his level. These other farmers down here, we sell milk or maybe use the milk for just local consumption, subsistence consumption, for subsistence use, those agricultural people. So it happens that the president tells Kenyans it is stupid to question. I am a farmer. I have one cow. Her name is Rose. And then she gives me milk. I have to vaccinate her for a disease. I don't know which one is it. I don't know which disease is this that is going to come. That now she needs a vaccination. Those are the simple questions that Kenyans were asking. You want to vaccinate our cows? Tell us more about this kind of a disease you're going to vaccinate our cows with. Then now Kenyans get to understand, or a farmer down in the village is able to know, okay, if I don't vaccinate my cow, this is the danger I'm subjecting my cow to. Then as a president, you come on board and call these Kenyans stupid. As if that's not enough, you go ahead to abuse your fellow leaders, to be silly, stupid. That is completely not in order. I remember President Uhuru Kenyatta used to really get agitated, particularly even with this current president when he was the deputy. You say this, the deputy president is doing the other thing. He's moving across the country, tangari. And then now, Uhuru Kenyatta was not such a good president in terms of, let's say, delivery, no actual protection of the public funds. Corruption cases were so huge. Money was stolen, loans were brought, and then used in the wrong way. Yeah, we agree on that. But let's come to Uhuru Kenyatta's weakness and strength. Let's look at the strength today. Uhuru Kenyatta used to hold himself. There are times he could be seriously agitated. Like, for instance, there's a time we had Mwangi Kionjuri. He was the cabinet secretary for agriculture. Some scandal happened. People were not paid. And Uhuru was like, what is delaying? Only to realize it was just a sabotage from Mwangi Kionjuri. Uhuru was seriously annoyed at some point. But he could not even just make an utterance of taking him home. But indeed he said, Tapaman. I mean, he used to hold himself when it comes to what he says. Whether he was drunk or not, we have all experienced Uhuru Kenyatta drunk. But he never used to abuse somebody openly, never used to make some utterances that go beyond being a president or maybe lower his dignity. He used to hold himself to some extent that he does not anger Kenyans with some of the language. Okay, maybe he could not put himself in a certain level where a president should not be. And therefore, that defines why Uhuru Kenyatta is much more of a leader in this country. He's a politician, but a leader as well. That is what makes him, because what you say defines you a lot. So William Ruto speaks with anger and abusive language nowadays. That, to some extent, keeps angering Kenyans more. And when leaders like James Orengo say Kenyans are angry, they mean it. I don't know what's your take about President William Ruto's language. Please let me see on the comment section.